They said he was just a thug in boots. Too rough, too reckless, not refined enough for European football. But Casemiro not only proved them wrong, no, he did with domination. In this video, we're diving into the raw, unfiltered rise of Casemiro, from the streets of Brazil to silencing critics on the biggest stages in world football. Carlos Henrique Casemiro, better known simply as Casemiro, was born on February 23, 1992, in São José dos Campos, Brazil. Standing at 1.85 meters tall, he brings a physical presence that's matched by his intelligence on the pitch. For Manchester United, he wears the number 18 shirt, anchoring their midfield with the same tenacity that's defined his entire career. His professional journey spans more than a decade, but his national pride has never wavered. Representing Brazil, he's earned over 69 caps and remains a dependable figure in the squad. His style of play blends strength with strategy, making him a pillar for both club and country. Off the pitch, Casemiro leads a grounded life. He's married and has a child, rarely chasing the spotlight. Known for his quiet discipline and leadership behind the scenes, he's often seen as the glue holding the locker room together. His focus remains sharp, his routine simple. No drama, just a professional who knows what he's here to do. But to understand the player he became, you need to go back to the streets of Brazil and a youth academy that shaped his foundation. Casemiro's football story began at just 11 years old, when he joined São Paulo FC's youth academy. For a kid growing up in a working-class neighborhood, football was more than a sport, it was a path. The academy became his second home, where early signs of grit and discipline began to surface. Interestingly, Casemiro didn't start out as a defensive midfielder. In his early youth days, he played further up the pitch, initially as a striker. But as coaches observed his natural strength, awareness, and ability to read the game, his position gradually shifted. That transition would turn out to be the defining move of his career.
2.5 minutes into stoppage time. Fantastic header.
By 2010, at just 18, he made his professional debut for São Paulo. In a league known for flair and chaos, Casemiro stood out with his calm control and mature decision-making. He was never the flashiest player on the pitch, but he brought balance. The kind of player who did the quiet work that let others shine. In 2012, he helped São Paulo lift the Copa Sudamericana, South America's second most prestigious club trophy. By the time he left, he had already made 112 appearances, showing a consistency that caught the attention of scouts far beyond Brazil. The raw power was there, and so was the tactical clarity. He wasn't only surviving, he was commanding. His next chapter? A leap across the Atlantic to one of the world's biggest football institutions, Real Madrid. But how did a quiet kid from São Paulo end up in the heart of Europe's midfield battles? That's where things really start to get interesting. In 2013, Casemiro made the leap to Europe with a loan move to Real Madrid B. It didn't take long for his quality to shine through. By the same year, he had already debuted for the first team. The transition was quick, but he never looked out of place. Madrid saw the potential, but they knew he needed minutes. So in the 2014 to 2015 season, they sent him to FC Porto on loan. That year in Portugal was more than a stopgap. It gave him Champions League exposure, week in, week out starts, and the chance to grow outside the shadow of the Bernabeu. At Porto, his game matured. He sharpened his defensive timing, his passing range widened, and his positioning grew even more precise. The talent was raw, but the edges were being refined. By 2015, Real Madrid called him back. Zinedine Zidane was stepping into management, and he saw exactly what Casemiro could bring. That reunion marked the turning point. Casemiro became the foundation of a new era, slotting into midfield alongside Luka Modric and Toni Kroos. Together, they formed one of football's most balanced and effective trios: control, creativity, and combat in perfect harmony. Casemiro's contribution was decisive. He broke attacks, recycled possession, and popped up when it mattered most. His trophy cabinet grew fast, 5 Champions League titles, 3 La Liga crowns, and 3 Club World Cups. More than a supporting act, he scored in finals, set the tempo, and delivered when the lights were brightest. Every time the stakes rose, Casemiro stood taller. But football moves fast. After nearly a decade in Madrid white, a new challenge was calling from the red side of Manchester. In 2022, Casemiro signed for Manchester for an initial fee of £60 million, with an additional £10 million in potential add-ons, totaling up to £70 million. And the effect was immediate. From his debut, he brought something the club had been craving: structure. His reading of the game brought order to a chaotic midfield, and his leadership changed the tone of United's dressing room. By the end of his first season, he had already delivered silverware, lifting the EFL Cup at Wembley. For a team in transition, he brought assurance. Not just a ball winner, he turned defense into attack and set the tempo with calm authority. His presence allowed others to play with more freedom, more confidence. So far, he's made 120 appearances and scored 15 goals for the club, several of them crucial, some outright spectacular. Wearing the red jersey, he brings the same energy, control, and fight that defined his years in Madrid. The Premier League's intensity hasn't shaken him. It's given him a new platform. And while fans focus on his crunching tackles and vocal presence, brands have noticed too. Whether it's Tezos backing innovation, Adidas representing tradition, or Snapdragon and DXC shaping United's global image, Casemiro stands at the center of it all, embodying experience with modern relevance. Casemiro's game begins with anticipation. His ability to read plays before they unfold sets him apart. He doesn't chase the ball, he moves where it's going to be. That instinct, combined with an aggressive edge, makes him a wall in midfield. He's physical, but it's the control in his tackling that defines him. Clean when needed, forceful when the moment demands. He operates as a shield in front of the backline, absorbing pressure, intercepting passes, and disrupting flow. But that role doesn't confine him. Instead, it unlocks freedom for the more attacking players around him. When Casemiro holds the fort, others push forward. His presence allows balance. You'll see the likes of Bruno Fernandes and even fullbacks surge ahead, knowing the spine behind them is steady. Leadership runs through everything he does. Whether barking instructions, shifting the defensive line, or just setting the tempo with a calm touch, he takes command. Younger teammates look to him, and even seasoned pros feed off his clarity and chaos. And then there's the passing. Short, quick touches to recycle play? Done. Cross-field switches to exploit space, delivered with precision. Under pressure, he rarely panics, often finding the smart outlet rather than forcing the ball. He keeps the machine ticking. On set pieces, he's another weapon. His height and timing make him dangerous in the air, both defensively and when attacking corners. And on the odd occasion, when the ball rolls to him outside the box, he doesn't hesitate to unleash a long-range strike. Some have flown in, powerful reminders that his threat goes beyond breaking up play. Casemiro is the balance, the brain, and the bite. A player who sees the whole pitch, not just his zone. But individual skill means little without influence. And when it comes to global reach, Casemiro has left deep footprints. For Brazil, Casemiro has been a constant, over 10 years in the famous yellow shirt, and he's still one of the first names on the team sheet. He was part of the 2019 Copa America winning squad, anchoring the midfield with confidence and calm. In World Cup qualifiers and the tournaments themselves, he's brought consistency to a side often packed with flair but in need of structure. That steadiness carried over to Manchester United. At a time when the club was rebuilding, Casemiro arrived as a mentor figure. For younger players like Kobbie Mainoo or Alejandro Garnacho, he's more than a teammate, he's an example. His attitude, preparation, and on-field focus offer a blueprint for professionalism. When discussing legacy, Casemiro's name now lives in conversations about the great defensive midfielders of the modern game. His blend of tactical discipline, physical dominance, and leadership puts him in rare company. And while he's now 33, he's not fading into the background. Whether commanding from the center circle or eventually guiding from the touchline, Casemiro remains vital. So Casemiro's career is the perfect blend of grit, glory, and game intelligence. A masterclass in midfield control. What do you think has been Casemiro's most defining moment? Drop your answer below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you love football breakdowns like this one.